In this video, you'll learn 100 facts about the United States.
Kaboom.
Let's start with the fact that exactly 250 years ago, the United States became an independent nation. The United States has no official language, but most people speak English. The United States was the first country to write a constitution, and over the past 200 years, it has been amended only 27 times. The best deal in history was the US purchase of Louisiana in 1803. Currently, the US has a two-party system, but there are actually 420 parties that have no influence. Although, throughout its history, there have been 20-30 parties in the US that eventually merged into two. There are 11 time zones in the United States. The USA has over. The first national park was Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872. And the US debt is already $39 trillion. Military facts. United States has lost 6 nuclear warheads, and they still haven't been found. USA Army often provides equipment for movie productions, but only if they can censor the film. The USA Navy officially uses military dolphins to search for mines and saboteurs. United States spends more on defense than the next 9 countries combined. The USA loves oil, and the war that claimed the most American lives was the Civil War. 14% of all US troops are stationed overseas. United States is one of the most hated countries in the world. In 2019, the USA established the Space Force, although a Space Command had existed since 1982, which served as the basis for the Space Force. History and statehood. Philadelphia was the first capital of the United States. The Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, but the war continued until 1783. The United States purchased Alaska from Russia in 1867 for $7.2 million, or 2 cents per acre. The US flag has changed 27 times. The current flag was designed by a 17-year-old high school student for a history project. He received a poor grade. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France. George Washington never lived in the White House. It was completed after his death. Until 1924, Native Americans were not considered U.S. citizens. The United States is the oldest federal constitutional republic in the world. The youngest president in U.S. history was Theodore Roosevelt. He was only 42 years old. The U.S. Postal Service delivers mail to the bottom of the Grand Canyon by mule. The states with the most weird laws. In Ohio, it is illegal to get a fish drunk. California. Here, it is illegal to eat a frog that died during a frog jumping contest. Kentucky. Every resident of the state is required to take a shower at least once a year. In Maryland, it is illegal to bring a lion to the movie theater. In Ohio, it is illegal to get fish drunk on alcohol. South Carolina, it is illegal to keep a horse in the bathroom. And in Pennsylvania, you cannot sleep on a refrigerator outside. Washington. Here, killing Bigfoot is considered a felony. Minnesota, you cannot cross the state line with a duck on your head. In Louisiana, stealing crayfish can result in 10 years in prison. When it comes to space, the United States is the world leader. Americans were the first to land on the moon, but many believe it was a hoax. In 1962, the United States detonated a nuclear bomb in space. The US officially plans to sink the International Space Station into the ocean after 2030. All American flags left on the moon during the Apollo missions have likely faded completely due to exposure to sunlight. Currently, the US is the only country that has successfully landed on and operated several generations of Mars rovers. From 2024 to 2026, Elon Musk's company will launch more rockets per year than all other countries combined. The Americans plan to return to the moon in 2026. The US Space Force's budget for 2024-2025 is approximately $30 billion X-37B, an unmanned spacecraft that has been flying in orbit for years, carrying out unknown missions, and Elon Musk planned to send people to Mars in 2022. The US also leads in the number of people who believe in conspiracy theories. 10% of Americans believe that Neil Armstrong never went to the moon. Area 51. There is a theory that UFOs are there. The birds don't exist theory claims that the government exterminated all birds in the 1950s. Now drones fly instead. There is a theory that the World Trade Center towers were blown up from the inside by US intelligence agencies, and this was done to justify an invasion of the Middle East. In 1962, the Pentagon developed a plan for a series of terrorist attacks against its own citizens in order to blame Cuba for them. Along lot of people thought the coronavirus was created in a Chinese laboratory. After the war, the US brought 600 German scientists to the US for further development. For decades, the CIA secretly conducted experiments on people using LSD, and of course Kennedy, about whom there are hundreds of conspiracy theories. Legal nonsense. Only in the US do ordinary people sue and win against companies. A man sued Red Bull for $13 million because he drank it for 10 years and never got wings. A surfer from California sued a colleague for stealing his wave, but the court dismissed the case. A customer sued for $5 million, claiming that ice took up half the volume of the cup. The court, however, ruled in Starbucks' favor. Nutella paid $3 million because a California mother believed the ad claiming the spread was part of a balanced breakfast, which was misleading. Nuggets were too hot. The court ruled that McDonald's failed to warn about the dangerous temperature of the food at Happy Meal. School districts in the US are suing YouTube and TikTok for millions because teachers can't teach children whose attention spans have been ruined by algorithms. And in general, there's a Stella's top 10 list in the US for the strangest lawsuits. A woman spilled hot coffee, suffered burns, and won millions in a lawsuit over the drink's dangerous temperature. Over 100 million civil and criminal cases are heard in the US every year. I couldn't sue this banana, even though it offends me. Food we all love to eat, but Americans take it to a whole new level. Americans eat 50 billion burgers a year. In the US, restaurant portions are usually 1.5 to 2 times larger than in Europe. The US produces over 800 types of cheese. In the US, it's customary to leave a 15-25% tip. But why do you have to leave a tip at a self-service checkout? Americans throw away so much food that it could feed all of Africa. American beer is often called sparkling water. Many food dyes banned in Europe are freely used in the US. There was a recent trend involving bread, and American bread failed to meet that trend. The British think Americans don't have teapots at home. In the US, you can buy cheese that doesn't melt because it contains more chemicals than milk. Different countries' attitudes toward the United States. In Russia, on the one hand, America is enemy number one, but if an American comes to visit, it's a big deal because he's an American from America. In Arab countries, the United States is often disliked. Is there any need to explain why? Japan and South Korea consider the US close allies, while China views it as a rival. In Canada, the US is considered the main ally, though Trump's actions have slightly altered this attitude. Argentina, when Milei became president, the US became a key ally. Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua. In these countries, attitudes toward the US remain hostile. Africa, attitudes toward the US here are the most positive in the world. Turkey, attitudes are extremely mixed. Turkey is a NATO member, but there are strong anti-American sentiments. And in Taiwan, there is both fear and hope regarding the US. Just the facts. Hawaii is the only US territory where coffee is grown on a commercial scale. There are over 16,000 airports in the US. Americans use about 500 million plastic straws every day. 1 in 7 Americans believes that the sun revolves around the earth. The Pentagon is the largest office building in the world. Most $100 bills are outside the US. The tallest tree in the world is the Hyperion sequoia in California. The US is one of 3 countries that do not use the metric system. A bottle of water in New York costs $1. And here's the 100th fact in this channel's post.